Well, actually, there's some things I'm going to do. I'm definitely going to, but I'm going to be a lot of people in
The police call?
That is?
I don't know. Is it?
I don't know. I was reading through too.
I don't know. And, you know, because they're pinpointing that one.
Oh, yeah.
He's a good kid. I know he's good.
This yours?
Yeah, I'll go over it here in a little bit. It's just a total of,
Where you been?
Just so that you know.
no, it's a total of the calls that are coming in.
Yeah, that's what.
Like, yeah, like the grid. January is actually, this is just February on. It's got January on it, but our system is not able to pull January. But, so basically since February, we've taken 6,950 calls. And that holiday world is 3% of them. Yeah. So this one here this is actually Holiday World. There are 2 parking lots and Lake Rudolph, which is 1,302 of a total 1,929. So Holiday World's 1,300 of that. So yeah, you're dead on. They need to give me some more money. When I asked them for money, though, they said, well, we don't have that much money. We're building a new ride. I'm like, really? So they offered to donate $50, give us a $50 card. So I talked to the guy that owns Stone Ridge, and he gave us $2,400. I said, huh, that's weird. Stone Ridge got more money in Hollywood. Pretty impressive.
Yeah. The value.
Yeah. Yeah, and we don't take that many calls at Stone Ridge. We share our family in Hollywood, which is part of it. Yeah, I mean, they're the largest population in town when they're growing. But, yeah, I'll go through it, and then you can see like our call. So if you look here, this is a grid of the whole county. We had 1,929 calls responded to, and Rockport was the next closest at 865.
What's that?
The call volume here.
Oh.
I'll go over it here when it's my turn. I can go through it pretty quick.
But we're not responding down there, are we?
Nope, that's none of us.
Okay.
This is each, like Rockport had 865 responds. We had 1,929. Rockport was the next closest to us.
Oh, they have half as many people.
Yeah, but the people that live down there versus the people that live here is a different breed of people.
Oh, they've got 1,600 if you count these two, right?
So far this year.
Well, this is actually just from February till today, till
Well, if we hadn't had that.
we have a total.
How many of them are, how many of those calls are Holiday World?
1,300 or something.
Is it really? Of the 1,900, 1,300 Holiday World?
1,302.
They're not
Lake
paying,
Rudolph, too.
they're not paying us.
That I had more than that.
Got a year under your belt.
I didn't know you weren't really.
Bell 2 for Elmerdale. Their age wise.
This is just Holiday World.
Yeah, just that.
Both of their parking lots at Lake Rudolph.
That was a weird event, and then we had a big event that was supposed to take place that weekend too, and that all was, it was just
Those numbers, I would like to go back and see that prints all the songs, but I'd love to go back and see that 5 years ago.
Good, how you doing?
The park board be doing? It's coming out of King Building.
I have 5:30. Kim, pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the regular town council meeting. Let's start out with roll call. Jason Little. Here. Tricia Ball.
Here.
Kevin Burke.
here.
Seth Wendell.
Here.
Ryan Warren.
Here.
All present.
Okay. The first thing we have on the agenda tonight is the approval of the minutes from October 9th, 2023, our regular town meeting.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes from October 9th.
Have a first and second on the minutes. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Let be known it passes 5-0. Okay. The first thing we have is comments from the floor, and we have Chris Middleton, our insurance representative, here tonight. You're up.
That's me.
Mm-hmm.
May want to correct on the minutes, I'm not Affinity Insurance, I'm Affinity Insurance.
Minute.
A-N-E-N-I-T-Y. First of all, I'd like to welcome our faces back and congratulations to all of those who ran. We had a great election and a lot of people got out and voted, and it's always great to see that kind of interest in a community, and that's really inspiring. So congratulations to everyone. I wanted to go ahead and, if I can, and just give you a quick summary. I don't know that we've ever had a year that we've had such great response from all of our departments, because what you're looking at on just this at a glance, we always make it short and sweet. We summarize everything so you don't have to go through all of this to get to one sheet of paper. Really want to thank all of the individual departments for taking time, for going out through all of the property schedules, the vehicles, the add-ons. I'd like to thank our clerk treasurer. She did an amazing job getting that out and getting it to us, I think, for the first time in a very timely fashion. For that reason, we're not having to see you later after the fact or call you with the actual renewal numbers. We got them early this year, so thanks to all of the departments. I know it's kind of labor intensive for several of them, particularly Russ. You have a lot to go through, and Russ, I'll tell you what, you get a big gold star this year. You know, you really did a gold star, not a silver. You got up to a gold this year because you have a lot to go through. You turned it around. We have a lot of property to go through. Russ has to go through every single one of those properties and update and upgrade those, make sure the water towers and things are added and all the other properties. I'd like to also thank our Parks and Rec department. You have a lot to go through as well, and of course our police department. So thank you guys. Do a great job. We can only do the job that, you know, we're presented with and review all this information, and we're right on it. So we're not paying for anything we don't have. These are all new additions. We had a lot of additions this year. A lot of additions, and that was in our inland marine and our property additions that we had an extra vehicle in our property valuations because we traded up some vehicles and things. Really the only downside this year, I'm not going to say it's down because, you know, last year our loss ratio was at 11%. You can't always be at 11%. The ultimate goal is to not exceed 30. This year we are at 76% loss ratio, and that's because we had a $41,000 claim on the building. So, and that was from the June 29th event. And folks, there's not a thing any of us can do about that. In my almost 34 years of insurance, in January, I don't know that I've seen such a widespread, comprehensive event that just affected so many people on so many levels. And we're still reconstructing a lot of property from that. So in that case, I think we should really count ourselves probably very fortunate that we only had $41,000 worth of damage in light of one company had $400.5 million worth of damage here in the state of Indiana. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and hand out our at-a-glance form to kind of summarize all of these. ratio on my faces. How's that go?
Good timing.
That was great. Kind of eerie, wasn't it? You're always open for Christmas music, so it's really not that bad. No, actually, it's very good because council entered into a 3-year agreement. It averages your loss ratios, which means you do not have a rate increase this year, which is a good thing. Normally, the 76% would be factored in if you did not have a 3-year rate guarantee. So this is when these kind of things kind of come to pass. It's a good decision to make. So if you do have one of those years that things happen that are beyond our control, it really protects your taxpayers. It really, really does. So gotta commend the council for making that decision. As you look, you'll see that we added almost 2.2 million, a little over that, in just property additions. 156,000 and change on the inland marine. We added 1 additional auto unit, and our auto valuations, that reflects trade-ins as well. I mean, if we trade a vehicle or we trade up, obviously the new vehicles are going to have a higher replacement cost valuation. So that's what our numbers look like there. We had a net addition of 2 employees that showed on our census this year over last year's census at the same time of the valuation. Again, gone over the loss ratio, looking at the package premium, which is good, after almost $2.5 million worth of additions, is $62,978. I did address again, this is just for policy additions, there was no rate increase. The cyber insurance, which is something that we've been holding our breath on for years. If you recall, and Seth, I know you were sitting there when we had the discussion and we got hit with that right after COVID. We were looking at a $10,000 premium for cyber. We were able to get that pulled back down last year. This year, there's the total for that is $5,637.50. It's a $256.25 increase, and that is based on the number of transactions. We get that report from the clerk treasurer, and also what our budget looks like versus the previous year. So that is pretty negligible. We're not at that $10,000 premium that we were at one time. So we really held the line on these things. Does anyone have any questions for me at this point? Anyone?
I don't. Anybody else?
And this is year 2 of your contract. So your rate is guaranteed for 1 more year. Okay? Just let you know. Okay?
Great information, thank you.
We really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And what's the date of this policy?
It's the 31st.
Of December?
30th of this month, I'm sorry. 30th this month, yes. October, November. Whatever month it is. It's that music, it got me all upset.
Very good. So this will be
11/30 of 2023.
and this is our last year on this?
This is the second year.
Okay.
Second year.
Yes,
Okay, good.
yes. You will have 1 more year of a rate
Excellent.
guarantee before we have to revisit that.
Okay,
So the rate will stay the same for all lines.
okay, cool.
Can I have a motion to consider these 2 policies?
Make a motion to approve the property and liability package insurance for the
Second.
23-24 insurance review.
Okay, I have a first and second.
Yep.
Uh-huh. Is there any other discussion about this? If not, if we can make all those in favor say yes, and those opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Make a motion, we approve the cyber insurance.
Oh, thank you.
Second.
have a first and second on cyber insurance. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Let it be known, both of them pass 5-0.
Thank you.
So we're good for another year.
We're good. Thank you very much.
Thanks for
Really
coming.
appreciate it. Hope everybody has a great holiday. Thank
Okay, next we have, from the floor is Brad Scales with Mountain Bike.
It's not like the phones.
How are you?
Sorry?
How are you?
I'm well. Thank you
Good,
very much.
good.
Appreciate y'all having me tonight.
Appreciate you coming.
So I'm gonna fire up. It's been a couple months. Yeah.
Yep. We left it at that you were going to go look at properties.
Yeah. So Zach and I, we visited several properties throughout town. And we ended up identifying the best property for development
We have order.
behind the Kimball property. And so approximately 55, 60 acres back there. And 2 site visits back there, and after walking the property, was able to develop a conceptual plan for trails.
Just a second. He said there was a fire. Do you guys need that?
It was a field fire in Holiday Village on New
Okay.
Year's Eve day.
Okay.
I guess it got out of control.
Carter got called out for it yet?
I don't believe, we don't believe so.
Did you go?
I don't know yet.
Sorry.
I don't know if it's bad.
Okay, all right. Continue, sir.
All right, by all means. And so, what we identified was the potential for a 5-mile trail system. And within that trail system, there was some kind of vacant space that I identified as the plan was coming together to potentially develop some bike park type features like the tracks and the jumps and things like that. And so the plan was put together and provided to Zach, and it included a quote from my for-profit trail building company that what we've been doing for local communities that have our bike clubs is a 50% construction discount. That's on labor and equipment. And then we also provide free design and no contracting fee. And so the cost is a significant discount to what most communities would pay for things like this. We're getting ready to head over to Missouri in a couple of weeks. And we did provide a 20% discount to them, and that's what got us the bid. And so what we're looking at here is on the order of about a 50% discount, and, that's something that my company is able to do. We're still getting our feet going and things like that, and so, we'd love to have the work. And so from the nonprofit side, we are looking to do fundraising. I believe we touched on this before, and so there's definitely an initiative there where we look to write grants, have a sponsorship package, and some potentially online fundraisers, perhaps even an event. And so, a sort of a comprehensive fundraising plan to get as many funds as we could. And then from there, the plan would be to write larger grants to get funding from perhaps the state level to get larger funding for this sort of project. And so, all depending on how all those pieces fall together, we could phase it out. I would highly suggest the trails first, and there's potential to scale those trails down. The trails actually are quoted with features. Like on the trail, it's very exciting and engaging and attractive to riders for jumps and like log rides, like ride on a skinny log and things like that. And so we call those features, and what I budgeted for was low density, so there's not one like every couple hundred feet. There's one about every 1,000 feet, so about 5 per mile. And so that's roughly, from what I recall, about $40,000 spends that could potentially be saved for later. And so as a potential phase 1 with just the trails, Zach and I also identified the need for parking and potential space for parking there too. So I would see a phase 1 including that, as well as the base level of trails. And then that would be a goal for us to fundraise for. Something I neglected to include in the proposal with maintenance, and I believe we did discuss that as well at the last meeting. And so our goal would be to be volunteer maintained, and that would be from the bike club, the Heritage Hills Bike Club, having quarterly, monthly meetings where the focus would be to keep the vegetation down and addressing the drainage issues and things like that. And so just keep the trail in good, useful shape to where there's no safety issues or things like that. And so I'm open to any questions you all have.
Okay, I have a question that I didn't think about until now, but liability. What is the deal with liability with something like this? Like, does the town have liability if someone gets injured on these trails?
So this is a town-owned space.
Right.
From what I understand.
Right.
However, it's not developed into a park at this time.
Right.
So I'm unaware of any hurdles that we would have for it to be covered by the town
Added on.
insurance
Mhm.
as an official park or something like that. So,
Right.
you know, I am unfamiliar with that, you know, more than happy to navigate through it.
Yes.
All of our projects have been on existing park property or private property.
That's,
I need
that's,
to talk to Chris about.
yeah, but Chris is still here if I'd done it sooner. But yeah, that would be a concern. I think this sounds awesome. Did you find that area to be a good area to develop something like this?
Yeah, very good. We like hills, you know, and.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's great terrain.
Great, but just, I have nephews who do this kind of crazy biking.
You could probably call Boonville, because they have lots of trails
And
there.
find out, yeah, so we just need, that's the only question I have yet.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be additional insurance. It's right at your own risk usually.
Yeah.
It's called assumption of risk.
Clarify, so the 50% discount, you're mentioning, you guys are paying up that 50% of the cost
Yeah,
out of your pocket.
Exactly.
And then the other 50% of the cost would be fundraised in just collaboration with the ideas that you have to help fund, you would help fundraise and help write grants for that, for the other 50%.
yeah, I also serve as the executive director of the nonprofit, and so, you know, I do pretty much all the grant writing and all that, and so, you know.
So upfront costs would be not, would we do the fundraising prior to the work, or will we start the trails? What do you see that work as far as money and activity? How do you see that stacking together?
Fundraising is our biggest hurdle, and so, you know, the approvals are always great, but from what I've seen is that the biggest hurdle is the fundraising, and so it's a timing thing.
Okay,
I don't see us jumping into construction until,
okay,
You
so
know,
that's
You
what,
would raise funds
Yes.
first.
try to get as much,
yeah,
yeah.
and then, you know, it
You
would
would
be a
increase this.
benchmark
Yes.
process as far as
Excellent.
paying for those. Back to insurance real quick,
Mhm.
Chandler and Linville's insurance agent, her name is Rita, and it's escaped me who she works with, but there is language that we included on the signage that addresses those, and then with USI, like, we really hashed it out, it took a long time with a lot of people through the university, and they actually made some updates to that signage that we included in our signage package.
Okay.
That's more, you know, we may be pushing the lines there a little bit, but it's a little bit more suggestive and on, as far as like equipment type to use and things like that.
Right.
It kind of explains things a little bit more than just the guidelines and liabilities.
Okay,
No dirt.
and you said first name was Rita?
Read it, yeah.
Okay.
Chandler
No
and.
one wheels.
I'll look into that.
No one.
Yeah, just popped into my
You
mind,
was like,
this
I'm
is
not
a
biking.
great, you know, a great other thing for Santa Claus. Very, very good other thing. Yes, sir.
One thing, I mean, obviously it has to be covered by the town's liability insurance. It's the town.
It'd be just like,
I'm sure it would. be.
anytime you engage in an activity, like when you go to a ballpark,
I know.
there is the possibility of a foul ball coming into the stand, so if you get hit by a ball, it's called assumption of risk. from a legal standpoint.
This is almost more, no offense, but injury specific. You know, I know, but you know what I mean?
There's
And
lots of
that's why
mountain
I
bike
asked.
trails everywhere. I'm sure it's not crazy.
That being said,
Boonville's
if
got
we know
'em.
that there's a
They're all over the
dangerous
place.
spot,
Linville
it's not
has
designed
them.
like it should
I
be,
mean,
Yeah.
and don't
right,
correct, if we
right,
don't make sure that it's
design part.
fixed,
Linville has dirt bike
Exactly.
trails on
you know.
public property.
I
so,
just need us to be aware of it.
Yeah,
So I can reach out to Chris Middleton.
Please do.
About this
Mhm.
project and
Yeah.
just feel.
we could call Chandler's
And
clerk and ask
Chandler,
Chandler what
yeah.
they
You
did.
guys on that.
Chandler Linville person, that would be good too.
Chris Middleton's our property. This would be more of a, who's our,
It's liability, she's also liability.
Yeah.
She's,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, with
She's
your
got the whole
properties, your
spiel.
liability's tied onto them.
I have to ask one more question. Is this land being permanently dedicated to this? Because what happens if, I mean, it's in the industrial park, I know we haven't done anything, I'm just asking.
There is a section of land that we are dedicated.
I think what we talked about is that land's almost unbuildable.
Yes, we are dedicating it
it's-
permanently to this.
Okay.
That it would be,
Well,
that it's just not
it's-
good.
That's the thing we talked about with the mountain bike
Are
thing, I mean, obviously, if somebody would come in and offer you an ungodly amount of money, under any grant you get, there's going to be probably some limitations because you have to maintain control for 20 years or something like that.
yeah,
I mean,
so do we
if somebody
need
in
to put
20
a,
years comes along and wants to put Alcoa there or something, then you could always, it's still part of the industrial park.
okay, so maybe I misspoke. What do we wanna put a term on this?
I'd say that's something to look at down the road when you know you've got.
When
the
you're
funding.
writing
When you're ready to
grants and
start
stuff.
build, when you're ready to build it, then you look at who actually is going to control it. Park and Rec would presumably take control of it at that time.
I would assume that a land and water conservation fund grant would basically, put an easement on that property and could never be used for anything. but
That's what-
purposes.
Usually they're
Yes.
20 or 25 years.
Not that that's a bad thing right there, right next to the village. We don't want Alcoa next to the village.
Exactly.
That's our,
So Brian is
And
saying
I mean,
that
we-
it's normally
yeah.
25
years?
I mean, I think that'd be
Yes,
great.
ma'am.
Land and water is in
Lisa?
perpetuity.
What,
Yeah,
pardon me?
Land and water conservation fund is in perpetuity, so you cannot change its purpose
Okay,
if you accept that grant.
okay, so,
I mean, in my estimation, and I could be totally off, but that would be a lot of cut and fill for
Yeah.
everybody to come in.
oh, it's
Yeah, I
not a
mean,
good location.
You got a quote on residential development.
Oh,
like
residential was
a couple
out of
million
this world
bucks.
on it, so.
So do we need some kind of language that says we are committing this land to this purpose?
Only if we were to
Whenever
receive
you
grants,
apply
probably.
for
After
a
we
grant.
get to the place, okay. So, these are all the things, the hoops we have to
Yeah.
jump.
Yeah.
What do you think, Zach?
I mean, I think it's worth pursuing. We just kinda have to see how it goes, really. I think it would be a very nice amenity. I think it could attract some people to the area that wouldn't normally come here.
Like younger
Yeah.
people and
People who went
a lot of people who
outside.
come to Lake Rudolph bring bikes and stuff. It might,
Mhm.
maybe, what if they stay an extra day because we got sweet, you know, now you've got $300 a pop rent, you know, so
It's a whole different.
they hit restaurants again, they hit everything again. So if you can keep people, the whole point of the trails is you keep people here half a day longer, 1 day longer, and your revenue explodes. So if that could help,
And you're bringing in a whole different.
It's a whole different-
Mountain
Mhm.
biking, it is
Yes.
a whole different
Group of people.
Yeah.
people that are gonna be.
you're gonna get a lot of kids on it too that are here, staying here in a
Strange.
camping.
Strange people.
You know, so-
Strange.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's next?
And it's a good amenity for local
Fundraising?
kids.
Yeah, just to clarify, the trails would be multi-use.
Yes.
We do consider them purpose-built for mountain biking, but by all means, hikers and walkers, could use that.
I would say no motorized vehicles though, right, I assume?
Yeah.
They just destroy
No dirt
trails.
bikes.
They destroy trails.
Are a new topic.
That's what I was gonna say, e-bikes.
So there's like classes 1, 2, and 3. Most parks, like Scott Lake, for instance, they go off of like the state level, I believe. They allow class 1, which is pedal assist,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
they may even limit it, which I don't know how this would be policed, but there's 3 levels on those bikes, and they say it has to stay in the lowest level. And so, putting that on signage, at least you're putting it out there, at least it's a whole different ballgame. And
Nothing
so-
destroys your trails faster than a tire that's spinning by power. It just ruts it out. Powered wheels rut your tracks out and run it, so.
Well, but I mean, in this instance, they wouldn't be able to use anything with a throttle on it. They would have to be pedal assisted.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You definitely want to limit.
Yeah.
No one wheels.
Yes.
So fundraising, yeah, and then, the Land and Water Conservation Fund would be a huge opportunity for us, there's.
I can't see somebody riding a
Indiana
unicycle
Trails
there.
program. and
The one
so,
wheel's a powered
I'm definitely
skateboard thing.
familiar with those and happy
They're really
to
fun.
assist with that
They tear up
process
stuff.
and any opportunities that we can collaborate on would be awesome.
Excellent.
Other local grants and, I'm happy to, as far as our organization, just figuring out where we need to go to apply.
So I guess what are you looking for from us then? As far as
The approval, first and foremost, and so, I know we have still some things to navigate as we work through this
Mhm.
realistically based on who the funders are, and their requirements, and so, there's the approval process, I think, as far as the fundraising and whatnot goes, I believe a press release would be a great idea, and to kick this thing off, and to put the concept out there, and the link to the fundraiser and all that stuff. And so, that's something that I could put together and keep you all in the loop on. I definitely want to just throw something out there so yeah.
So
Okay.
the approval to pursue?
Wait a minute.
I was gonna add, there is a grant within the state of Indiana, which I do not remember the name of at the moment, where it's a partial crowdfunding, and then the state matches part of it.
Patronicity, right?
just for documentation purposes, I don't know your name, so if we could,
It's okay. Jessica.
okay. Okay, just so it's on the, so we have it in the minutes, okay, perfect, thank you.
That's a great grant, that helps.
Yeah, no
the
kidding.
trail that USI that we're gonna build this
Oh.
spring.
We could set up some kind of sponsorship level too to
Yeah.
put stuff on signs.
Yeah,
Some local
perhaps
businesses
we could
donate.
Tag out sponsorship.
I'm assuming we can.
So you
do that.
need approval to pursue? Fundraising? What do we need to do next in order to
Do
give
we wanna-
approval?
It's just a go-ahead at this point. Like he said, a press release basically that you're exploring this, you know, that you're not entering into a contract or anything, so it'd basically be right now you're in the exploration stage and you're moving forward with having the park department collaborate with the nonprofit or, you know, basically the nonprofit to develop the mountain bike trail and say something on that gist.
I think
Really, you're
what-
not taking any legal step right now.
From a financial perspective, what is the best way to pursue this? Basically, it's like an independent effort and they would deed the product to the town, like grant it to the town when it's completed, otherwise financially, we have to pay this.
No, I think what the town would do, I mean, whoever's going to apply for the grant, the town would probably be a co-sponsor or co-recipient of some type. And then,
I think what Zach's asking is, do we have to bid out, we're doing a trail project, or can we go with these pricing? I mean, I think that's the question we're looking at. right?
Well, to an extent, or is it a situation where the fundraising is completely independent and we might apply as some sort of like you said, a co-recipient, but then when the project's completed, they would just basically give it to us.
yeah, I don't know, it depends on what Brad would recommend as far, I mean, because.
Because every other trail project, we have to get all the construction, then we have to bid it out to everybody that wants to build it.
It's either this nonprofit enters into a partnership with the town, where it's the applicant and we're the co-sponsor, or we'd be the recipient most likely, because we own the ground, so the town would be the one building the trail. So eventually, you would get into a bidding, or, I don't know, what's the number for development?
But do we even have to bid if we're just giving a lease to the land and he's
Well, that's the
putting the
question.
50%
Yeah, I don't know
and
what,
helping with the fundraising? I
that's the
mean,
question.
why
What,
do we have to bid that out? Why wouldn't that just be us?
well, if we're leasing the ground, it's a different story, but if the town's gonna maintain control of the ground where we still own it, totally different story. Because if we own it, we have to be on the grant typically, if we're gonna control the ground. But if you enter into a
And we'd have to do
long-term
an
use.
So
RFP.
how is this normal
construction.
working?
We'd have to do a
Do they
construction
normally
RFP
lease
too,
the land
right?
to you, or is it still owned by the
250.
town?
So we'd have to do
and the other
construction
part
RFP, right?
down?
I've heard of the lease, process being worked out with dirt bikers in Interlake State Park, state rec area. I've also been a contractor builder in Terre Haute and Griffin Bike Park, where you have the Shepherds of Griffin Bike Park, which is a nonprofit. And you have the Vigo County Parks Department, and they are essentially partners on the grant that the Shepherds wrote through the Next Level Trails program and got the grant. Word Trails also did the same thing in Linville, and so nonprofits can get the grant. However, I've seen in our experience with Terre Haute and Vigo County, that Vigo County was heavily involved in the bidding process and had ultimate say in that process, and I believe that was due to Shepherds, the way they had previously done the process. And so, you know, I don't know that that's all necessary. However, to me, it's where the funding does come from and who does apply for the grants. DNR does like the landowner to apply to be the applicant. But like I said, they do accept them from nonprofits. So best case, the town applies, but if you all have something else going on, another grant, things like that, another project, you know, we would have to coordinate that. And so as far as our nonprofit goes, you know, we would follow all procurement processes to keep things legitimate, where I would definitely not be involved. And, you know, with the discounts that I provide, gives me very, very good confidence. But, you know, at the same time, you know, I definitely want things to be done legally, and so, you know, however it works out.
I think what we need to do is take this under advisement till the next meeting where we can discuss this among ourselves and have Kevin check in some things and you guys, Zach and you
Because
know.
until you're ready to apply for a grant or something, I mean, I really can't give you a straight answer. I apologize for that, but there's really no
Okay.
way to answer it because it depends. I mean, it depends on what you want to do as far as the town maintaining control over that, or Zach's managing it, subject to some agreement with the club. But typically, yeah, it would be the town owns it, the town's the one who applies for the grant. with the nonprofit being a partner, maybe the Heritage Hills Bike Club being a partner, that kind of thing. It's typically what you would do if you're applying for grants.
Well, that's probably a discussion that we need to have with you, just because you've been helping apply for trail grants, and we're interested in getting money for our playground through Land and Water Conservation Fund, so that's probably something we need to hash out and see what money is available, what we can apply for.
Yeah,
The park department, Police Housing Virginia 15 can be the applicant on the land and water.
Yeah.
And there is a part in there where you do have to, say that you'll maintain it for 20 years. But a park board can be an applicant with the town owning the property.
Right.
As long as you have an approved 5-year master plan with this project listed.
So we'd have to update our master plan, because there's no way this is in there.
We do, I mean, like I said, the issue though is basically the council's already appropriated funds to be able to apply for an LWCF grant for a playground. And so the match, I mean, I guess we could apply, but typically you get funded maybe once a decade, depending on the size of your initial request, so.
Playground has to be primary focus right now.
I think that since that's already in place and we're kind of rolling.
Yeah, I know, but if we look into this crowdfunding, look into some other aspects, why don't you gather, I mean, just because you probably would know, funds or fundraising activities that would apply to this kind of endeavor. Grants, just start finding things and then we'll go from there and
Sounds good.
get it rolling.
So should we do a motion to, now that we're
consider.
exploring a bike trail park in there, a mountain bike trail?
That's what I wanna know. Should we
And
do
that way-
Continue exploration. We've already started the exploration.
Right,
We could put an announcement out and see what, maybe
yeah,
a bunch of people come forward, you never know.
right.
and
They don't know
maybe,
you're doing something, you're not gonna get any.
and we need to get this on our master plan too, within the next 5 to
Okay.
10 years, what Lisa said.
Well, we can update it anyway, so I can take care of that.
Mhm.
Okay, well, I make a motion that we start exploring the Santa Claus Bike Park in the industrial park behind Kimball.
I second that.
I have a first and second on this. Any other discussion?
I missed a lot of those outtakes back over on the window. I'm all for it.
Okay.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Let it be known it passes.
Thank you all very much.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Russ, I hate to be bearer of bad news, but I think we got a water leak in Holly Village. Just a corner of Ashburn and Walnut, about a 120-foot strip of extremely wet road. I stopped, it was getting kind of dark, but put my hand down and it's flowing water.
You should check out that new house.
Yeah,
They may be sprinkling their lawn. I'll look at it.
I'm thinking about that, sorry. Yeah.
Main's on the other side of the road, so if it's a leak, it's Patokas. My out.
Silly water.
Let's see, comments from me, Holiday World employee parking lot entrance improvements. We're still, looking at putting up those cones. To prevent traffic from going down the trails other than
Yeah, exactly.
pedestrian.
Offered his forces as well, so we're gonna double team it and get it done
Okay.
this winter, or this fall.
And also they're looking at putting in a sidewalk,
Lights or something.
lights with it too, going down to their facility off the trail. The other thing I'd like to remind everybody on, back in June or July, we had a lady here, that was here in the community and talking about her book that was The Night Before Christmas poem. And that's coming up on the 200th anniversary later this next month. And just like to let everybody know of that, and we'll remind everybody next month about it. I have nothing else to discuss. Anybody have any questions pertaining to me or would you like to address? If not, we're gonna move on to the fire department.
You got my monthly report for the month of October. We had 8 first responder runs, 3 fire alarms, and we had 1, service call. They had a car deer, a couple cars and some deer down here. We got called down to help clean that up. Yeah. So we had a total of 12 runs for the month. October 30th and 31st, you probably saw there was a lot of trucks out and hoses strung everywhere. We had all our hoses tested those 2 days and ladders. We only had 2 sections fail out of all that, and they were 1974. So November 1st, we went down to the Archevy Lake with St. Leonard. We tested trucks, pumps. They passed with flying colors. The 93 didn't even get above 180 degrees, and truck 1, the newest one, it's rated at a 15 GPM pump, and it went to 1850, so it exceeded the pump. So all the trucks are recertified pumps, and today we had our ISO audit. I did invite Trish to come down. She sat in on the whole audit, seen how it worked. She explained how it worked to her, what role ISO plays in the town, insurance, homeowners and stuff.
Yeah.
We'll know in February the results.
One of the big deals that I learned is the value scoring of fire departments ranges from 1 to 10, 1 being, number 1. So you want to be number 1. But, we, and keep this in mind always, we really spread out and help out communities that are firemen less. There's nobody around. So because of that spread out, sometimes it can influence your number 1-ness. But Max had everything together, and I always look at schools, how much schools matter to an area and how important that is. It was reiterated several times today how important firehouses and fire department and response time, how important that is
Training.
to an area. So Max had his stuff together, and respect, we need to maintain our respect and our maintenance to our fire department, because just like our police department and our water department and of course our fire department, we need to keep that on the up and up. It makes a difference to community movement.
Yeah, I like to thank Russ and Chris. They did all the water work. They got it all to me. He had questions. They both
Chris,
answered
yeah,
them via phone call, via text. We relayed the questions, so they gave him all the answers. So, like I said, we'll find out in February, the results. So, that's all I have.
Thank you, Matt.
Next we have Zach, Park and Rec.
You have my monthly reports. Just as a note, we had a little bit of a hiccup in our spreadsheet. We're in the process of transitioning everything over to the new system. So I don't have totals for you. But basically we're seeing an increase in activity like every October. So, as far as projects, we did have Trick or Treat Trail. It was a little bit rainy, but we still had about, I'd say probably 350 people attend. And the kids had fun as always. So that was good, despite the weather. Just a few housekeeping things. We've been working on some different projects. The bridges from basically the west end regular trail going to meet the town trail on Ashburn Road. We did replace the decks on all 3 of those. They're just constantly, they say wet just because they're in the shade. So I think we got about 10 or 12 years out of those, but did replace all those decks. And then just some winterization stuff, cleaning up dugouts, and the weather's been nice, so we haven't winterized the lines yet, so we'll be good for that. As far as the gym membership system, I've been working with Jane on payment processing information, so hopefully we'll have all that ironed out, and we'll start transitioning membership information to the new system, and hopefully go live January 1, or January 2nd. But otherwise, it's keep on keeping on. The ordinance and fees, so I did forget to mention that. We will be adjusting the membership fees at the community center, but I believe we still have 2 more meetings for the year, so we'll get that hashed out for December and then the end of your meeting. So,
Okay.
but I think that's pretty much all I've got. Any questions?
About the window?
Oh, yes, we do need to do that. Yeah, we should do that.
Got some bids.
Got some bids. Mr. Burke, can we open them?
Yeah, you can.
So
How many
to
bids
refresh
you
everybody,
have?
this is for
Three?
the quarter window.
You have three?
Double doors with candy center.
Yeah, there are three bids received. The first is from Seamer's Glass Company. $9,487.95.
Can you read that again?
$9,487.95. The second is from Kentucky Mirror and Plate Glass. $12,743. That's $12,743. And the final is.
What do we budget for it?
So, I requested back in June if we could pull this out of Q building.
How much, did we have a
I
number?
think it was about 10,000 was the number that I gave.
Kaish Glass Inc. And the amount is $8,600. $8,600.
I make a motion, we approve the Kaish Glass Ink bid pending Zach's, checking the specs.
One second.
Have a first and second on accepting Kaish Glass as the bid. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Let be known, it passes 5-0 for your advisement.
Thank you guys, appreciate it. There's
Does he need to have this done before the end of the year?
that was kind of the idea, basically, would be to encumber funds. I seriously doubt they can move that fast. You know?
You can check.
Yeah, I'll try. I mean,
So-
basically, I put a date, I believe, of June 1st at the latest, I'll see if they can move it.
Oh, June 1st of next year?
Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking June this past year.
No. So, yeah, I'll check with the specs, make sure everything's good to go, and just see if they can, if not.
Right.
We'll go from there. There.
Okay. Police department end.
Excellent, thank you.
Skip the building inspector.
The building
Oh.
inspector is under the weather, not attending, but they have this report.
I dropped off some papers up there. I'm just gonna go through that real quick if you don't mind. What this is our CAD system records all of our calls, and they were able to go down and grid it out. So the first page, it should recording, counts per month by type. So this is from, it says January 1st, this system was not in place in January, so you can knock January out, so it's basically February until the 1st of this month. There was a total of 6,950 911 calls, just in Santa Claus. This is not outside of the town anywhere. A lot of those are, those type of calls on that first page, basically consist of any type of medical run or anything, which we respond to. So it just kind of gives you an overview of the amount of calls. The next one.
Can you go over each column, which
I
each
can,
column?
Yeah, so
Is-
the very first column is the one that starts with one. Those are corporate calls, meaning some type of business that had calls, so there was 161 calls from a business within Santa Claus.
So alarms or whatever,
Alarms, whatever it may be.
okay.
Gas station calling because somebody's being disgruntled or anything like that, or an alarm going off. The second column, the WPH2 count, those are phone calls, the 4,986. Those are calls that come in that immediately ping on the computer and show their exact location. So those 4,986 phone calls come in, just an individual phone. If someone in here called and their phone set up with GPS or you had it turned on, your location turned on, automatically alerts dispatch of your location. The WRLS count, the last column there, those are calls that come in that do not have location on them until dispatch has spoken to them for a period of time. I don't know what that period of time is, and then they're able to ping that phone and leave the location. This system just sets it up so people can see, okay, these 4,986 of them automatically show us where they were. The other ones, they actually had to speak to talk in order for them to GPS that location. Any other questions on that one?
Okay.
How many 911 hang-ups for the acute call or?
Out of the 4,986, there is a potential of, they don't know the exact number of 911 hang-ups, whether it be a kid, if it's a residential and someone calls 911 and hangs up, we still go. We still respond to that. Now, if you're at Hollywood and accidentally dial 911, it would show up as a 911 call, and they attempt to call it back multiple times, and they will ping those phones if there's a officer in the park that can locate those people, but generally, if you get those type calls, we don't necessarily always locate them. But we attempt it, if that makes sense. The next page here is just a graph of, basically show you June and July are our biggest call volumes. Of course, November, that's the first of November is what you're only seeing a little bit there. And then the colors obviously dictate how the calls that automatically show up, calls that don't automatically show up. Third page is the total recording count per hour of day, all same timeline. As you can see, the majority of our calls are happening between 1 p.m. and 5:30, 6 o'clock. Are the biggest calls that actually goes from midnight to 11 p.m., so the whole day. Just kind of gives you an idea of what time of day those type calls are coming in.
Kind of surprises me. I wouldn't think they'd be during the day as much as they'd be in the
Yeah, we get a lot
night.
during the day.
Yeah.
We do get the night calls, but it seems like during the daytime, it's a little crazy during that time of year.
Yeah,
With holiday will be.
right. Oh, yeah, it's good.
Yeah. The next page here is the call count by location. This is all gridded out. If you go through that, you'll see that we responded to, we took 1,929 calls just in Santa Claus. The next closest was Rockport, which is 865. We clearly take quite a few more calls than the other agencies here in the county. I don't know if there's any questions on that. This last one here to me was the most important that I wanted dispatch to come up with. So this zoned in area here, this is Holiday World, both parking lots, and Lake Rudolph. There was 1,302 calls that we responded to just in that grid of area. So if you deduct the 1929, you'll see how many calls were actually taken outside outside of Holiday World and Holiday World parking lot and Lake Rudolph. If you take Lake Rudolph, I also have, but I don't have that graph. But if you take Lake Rudolph out of that, there was 902 calls just in Holiday World and their parking lots. And a lot of those are crashes in the parking lot or domestics in the parking lot or whatever calls are going on inside, domestic thefts, alcohol. Just kind of give you an overview of what we've done up until today's date, and the year's not over. Granted, it is gonna slow down until Christmas hits us, and then it gets a little hectic.
Can you imagine if we lived in a place where the park wasn't a really friendly family, honestly, a really friendly family?
Yeah.
I can't imagine. But I think your summer hours are worth your whole year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
And
crazy.
it- But
I think that's
that's a lot of
something
service.
that we need to share with people,
Yeah.
what we're doing and where we're going.
And I'm gonna start doing them, now that we have this system, I'm gonna start doing them quarterly, just to see where we're at quarterly.
Yes.
And possibly we can share this with, these two companies over here and
I have-
talk to
I
them.
actually gave them a copy of all of it. I told them for their insurance purposes and everything else, it's probably beneficial, why they need us in there.
Okay, and we can use this possibly leverage, get some help from them.
So about this grid,
Yes.
this grid is broken down, this is how you guys put it out, as a square.
Correct.
So it includes some Kentucky, some Du Bois County,
This is strictly Spencer County.
okay, I mean, this is.
Yes, that is, but that whole grid's,
Oh, this whole grid is supposed
that
to be
whole grid
strictly,
is strictly Spencer County.
even though it says, okay,
Yes, it's Spencer County, it's just the way it's.
okay, it's just the way it's
It
pulled
looks
off the
weird the way
sides.
it's printed,
Okay, okay.
but technically, it's just Spencer County.
Oh, so like Mariah Hill is the part that includes Fergus.
Correct, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, good. That 1929.
Because I had those questions too, I said, that's,
20 calls a mile.
why we got,
It's about one a day.
Owensboro and those places like that, and they said, this is just the calls.
It's just the way they
Spencer
have it.
County, it's just the way it's written.
Okay,
Because if you look at Santa Claus, technically that grid box for Santa Claus,
yeah,
doesn't really have all of Santa Claus in it.
yeah, it doesn't. Okay.
They say it's just how the system prints it off. They actually just discovered that they.
Format on the map.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes, correct. And they've just discovered that they could actually do this. I've been trying to get this for the last 2 years.
This is good.
And they called the company that's over our CAD system that records everything. And they said, oh yeah, effective February, we can actually do this for you. So I said, well, I want to do it quarterly.
So the town of Santa Claus is 2.1 times as much as anybody.
Yes, yeah. And that's-
Yeah, but a million people come in here through
I
Holiday World
know,
in
you're
the
That's
summer.
the thing, yeah.
You're right, you take that out.
A million, you know,
You
so.
take that out.
You
That's
take
a lot.
Santa Claus, so the population of Jasper is right around 15,000. So any given time in the month of June, July, and.
We have more than
A
Jasper.
couple weeks in August,
Oh, yeah,
our population is way more than Jasper.
yes.
I think Spencer County's what, 19,000 people?
Yeah,
Total.
19,000 people for the whole county.
Yeah, so.
If you compare it to Rockport, our population is larger than Rockport, but take out the holiday
know.
calls, and we're about 200 and some
Yeah.
less.
No, Rockport's like,
Rockport.
well, if you look, Rio's there too, that's
But Holiday
Rockport, that's
World calls
1,200.
can include our people too.
So they're over us.
So,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're well over our.
Rockport's probably double our calls almost, if you count Rio and everything, because that's 1,200. Yeah.
There's no way to see the Holiday World calls from like last year. When this is the first year for alcohol sales.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just
that
curious
would
if the
be-
number went
That would
up.
be,
I'm just curious. If
It wasn't the first year for alcohol drinking, just.
Yeah.
No.
yeah.
I'm just wondering if the
At
alcohol.
14 bucks a beer, I doubt there was a lot of alcohol drinking in there where.
Oh, yeah.
Prior to.
Yeah, it
was
would change.
a lot, and really, we didn't deal with any more alcoholism in there as what we have in the past. Really, the difference is with Holiday World before, if you walked up to the front gate and one of the security guards smelled alcohol on you, you pretty much had to leave the park. Well, now, you can come up, we had a guy, I think, were you working that day or Bone? But there was a guy who walked up with a bush light in one hand and a cigarette in the other hand. Sir, you can't come in here with that. So he downed the bush light, smoked a cigarette, threw it on the ground, and I said, okay, now you can go in.
Yeah.
So the
fixing
difference
the
is
pie
before they
chart,
get
it's
a
a
lot
lot
of
easier
it
to
now they
compare, so
do,
people
but
buy half
as far
of
as
it instead of
purchase,
100%.
I don't know that there's a whole lot of alcohol
And you
purchase
can
in
tell
there.
my sister.
$14
It
bucks.
costs, yeah.
12.50, 14, something like that, isn't it?
Guys from a cargo shop,
Yeah.
they stick a
Yeah.
Ball games.
You can't stick a beer in a pocket, it's not pretty obvious.
Really?
It's convenient.
Yeah, it is. I get it.
Well, we need that food and beverage tax, so that'll add up then.
We gotta get it done.
I would, I'd love to, I can't wait to see you get more reports like this, 'cause that's really
I'm
interesting.
excited about these reports because they're gonna show me a little bit of, a little more of what we're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
And everybody, so that's all I have.
Okay,
I have some questions.
I have nothing. Council have anything else? No, we'll move on. I'm gonna change the agenda a little bit. I'm gonna move up the water. And then we come back to the trails and street department.
Yeah, I don't wanna be shuffling feet and seats.
But then again, we do have water on the street, so maybe.
Hopefully it's not water.
It's a sprinkler.
It's a choker.
Yeah, it hit my car on the way by.
Okay.
That's a real,
Okay.
sprung real leak, but spraying it high.
So let's go ahead with the water.
I'm good with that,
You
Scott.
got anything you wanna say before I start?
No, I think, like I said, ours are in a mingle, and if you say something, I have to say less, so.
Okay, all right. Yeah, do you have, we'll start with, should have 3 pages of a water budget. Revenue, expense, and a capital.
Should be stable.
Yeah.
This one.
There you go. Okay, just, quick recap on our budget process, it hasn't changed. We generally start in August. Some of it's very simple, it's, part of the trends in labor or whatever. This year, the family insurance, that's a new thing. We had to put that in, we do have it fully funded. We actually took the employees that we're gonna get at, or could have insurance, and what their estimated bill would be, and we rounded up. So, hopefully you get that all tucked away, from the water department standpoint, don't worry. I can't imagine you're gonna be higher than what I've got in there, so. Hopefully not, let's go with that.
I'm glad she's gone right now where she doesn't see the number.
Yeah. Revenue side, we did very little increase in that, and then there's a capital budget I'll get to in a minute. The revenue, you do not need to approve the revenue budget, okay? You're only gonna approve the expense side of this. But the revenue budget, very minor increases in revenue, over where this year's gonna end up, and, we're budgeting, $2,209,000. We're gonna be right at $2,000,001 this year. So it's a minimal increase, year over year, in the revenues. We kinda left it alone. And that, I'm gonna explain that lower right-hand corner that has that big negative in it in a minute. So the water expenditures, which is the one with a whole lot of printing on it, is the one that I'll need your approval. That one has a far right-hand bottom of $2,477,223. So that's the one we're looking at. The first line is, in order for us to move money from the operating fund to our capital fund where we do all the projects we do, we have to put it in here. You're gonna see that same number again in a minute when you approve the capital budget, but that's just the way fund accounting works. And that's the way the state auditor said it. So the first line is $472,000. $272,000 that is the excess cash that we have in the operating, that we set a level at the end of every October, there has to be $700,000 in the operating fund. This year there's $972,000 and some change. So whatever's over that $700,000, that gets moved over to the capital fund for either current or future capital projects. Then this year's budget, we don't put a number in there to start. It's just where it is end up. So we go through the whole budget, you know, we've got money in there for fire hydrants, and we've got money in there for a new truck, and we got water meters, and maintaining our wells, which, you know, is about $35,000 a pop to have those every year, the maintenance done to them. We have a lot of really big motors that are expensive, both in our treatment plant and our well fields. We budget for one of those every year. So those kind of things, I've already mentioned the family insurance, those kind of things. And of course, the state's always throwing things, you know, estimators are doing something, and those things get added into. We put in an increase for wages, generally follow along with kind of what you know, what you set, and we round up. So, if we hadn't had the transfer in there, the budget actually generated like $4,000 or $5,000 extra after we plugged the $200,000 to move it over to the capital, to finish up our capital projects. You know, Patoka doesn't have an increase coming this year, so the Patoka doesn't change a whole lot. We have no increase planned in 2024. You know, we'll see what Patoka does in 25, and we'll kind of go from there. But I would need your approval on that expenditure budget of $2,477,223. If you have any questions on it, ask away, and then I will do my best to answer.
Make a motion to approve the expenditure budget for the water treatment in the amount of $2,477,223.
Second.
Have a first and second on this wastewater expenditure budget of $2,477,000. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Let be known, that passes 5-0.
Right, the next one is the capital budget. This one looks like this, it's the little one. It doesn't have a whole lot of lines on it because I make this one up. I put things together. As you can see, the first part is where funds are coming in to the capital budget in 2024, and there will be a total of $2,398,306 coming into the capital budget in 2024. What I will need approval on is the next part. Completion of the tire and well project. The well project's actually done, so it's actually just the tower project. But that's $252,364 of the money. The EDA project will need $54,600. That's for Region 15 to administer it, and the easements and all that stuff that Kevin had to do. We still owe some engineering on the EDA project, and then we have the the project cost. The EDA project is the 16-inch water line that is going to run basically from the plant, that's very general in nature, to very generally the Holiday World water tower. It's actually down the hill from that. If you know where the pit is, the Old Rye Hill pit, then that's where it's actually going. Then from the intersection where the stoplight is there, we're running a 12-inch line on the east side of the highway all the way down to just at Ashburn is where it will. And that line also will have a line that goes into Holiday World. But anyway, that's, and when I get done here, I was kind of going to just go over the project with you so you kind of know where we're at. The bid for that was $1,839,000. So we're going to spend $2,251,413 next year. because we will get the lines done before the end of the year, so that's how much we're gonna spend next year. We do have it fully funded, and I would need your approval for the $2,251,413. Yes?
2 years ago, for the wastewater, we issued a $5 million bond. How much of that money is there?
That was for the water?
This is water, not wastewater.
This is just
Water.
Oh, that was $5 million.
Yeah, we did a bond for the water. That paid for the tower and the well.
Okay,
Yes.
that was $5 million too, but
Yeah.
we paid off that.
When did those well projects get finished?
All right,
Because it
Well,
pretty
project was
recent.
done, it came online, Russ.
End of last year, beginning of this year?
Yeah, sometime this year. Well 3 is
Yeah.
what we call it. Well 3's been running pretty much, it got its work out this year. It shining star, we happy. We had a few glitches and hiccups along the way, as you will with anything, but it is running. We put it through its paces this summer, and it will be running again. It will not even get rehabbed. One of the other, well, 1 or 2 gets rehabbed this year. We do,
Yeah, rotate around.
rotate around.
Okay,
I make a motion, we approve the water department capital expense project of $2,251,413.
Have a first and second on this. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Let it be known, it passes 5-0.
Okay, we need to talk a little bit about the EDA project now, see, one more approval from you tonight on that. So at our meeting, and we've now moved our meeting in front of yours, FYI, because we need to do things, and if we need the town approval, we need to do them, and then have you approve them, and, we have several, well, the 2 remaining big projects will all going to involve somebody's money, that somewhere we might need your approval on. But the EDA project, as I explained earlier, the 2 big lines, we awarded that to the lowest bidder, that was $1,839,000. We got 5 bids, the highest one was just a little over $3.5 million. We had 10 people request bid packages, but we only got 5 bids. Little head scratching on funding that one. When we started, we did the last update to build this line, it was $800,000. And then when we started asking for the ARP money, we went, ooh, add 50% to it, and $1.2 million. You know, and we're gonna, when we build the Rye Hill line, it'll be $2 million. I mean, this one, the first time this line was in the books in 2013, when it was on our first plan, something like that, it was less than $400,000. This project will be almost, it will be over $2 million with engineering and everything. That's, just to give you an idea how much things are going on. But we do have it fully funded. Kevin doesn't need, I signed the award, so he just needs, do they have a copy of the letter?
No.
If you give it to me, I'll just. There is a bid checklist, and if you have questions on this, the experts are here. There is a bid checklist for the EDA project. And one of those is this local share certification letter. Water board's already approved me to sign it, and I have already signed it. I'm gonna need your approval to have Kevin sign it. But if you go back to the capital budget, this project is fully funded. Okay, actually, we end up with $146,000. But basically, the letter says that we originally had the $283,012. If you recall, when we were doing this project, we had to do a resolution. You had to also do one that said if you get this grant, you've got the matching, at that point it was 20%, okay? And with engineering, that would be like $475,000. Okay, so now what it says is that we still have the $283,012, and we need an additional $720,700. That's
If, as needed.
as needed, okay? And so this letter just says that we have the money, and the capital budget you just approved has this money in it. So, we'll need Kevin's approval for him to sign that. And that's getting pretty close to having the checklist done for that project. Just to bring up the way that project works is, so we have this long checklist, and once it's done, then we will send the person who got it, who was the? Copper Ridge, yes, Copper Ridge. They'll send their, and all this other information off in 90 days, is that correct?
We'll seek authorization to sign contracts, and we'll have a pre-construction conference.
Right.
And, but we have 90 days from October 26th, when the bids were open, to make sure all this is buttoned up and you've made a contract.
Yes.
So about 67 days.
We would like to start in February. There's a law that you can't cut a tree down bigger than 5 inches in diameter after the end of March. So this route does have a couple large trees, so a contractor wants to be able to do that. Also, this line's going in the middle of the summer. So we have 15,000 of our friends here during those summer days, and traffic is an issue. Contractors have all been talked to about that. They're even looking at, we are gonna cut the road where Holiday World's employee housing is up there. We're gonna cut the road where you go into their parking lot through the stoplight. So the contractors are aware of that, and those cuts you might be driving along in April, and all of a sudden somebody's out there digging, and they just dig that up and put it back. They can come along and lay the rest of the line later, so.
What is the letter we need to approve? Him saying the sign it. See what that says. So, give him permission to sign the local share certification?
Authorization.
Okay, authorization, okay. I make a motion to give Kevin Burke, the president of the town board, authorization to sign the local share certification for the water board.
Second.
Okay, I have a first and second. Any other discussion? If not, you guys are giving me approval to sign this. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Let it be known that passes 4-0. Seth, not here.
Is there anything else on it that we need to?
The check
Just
will go to the EDA tomorrow, and then we'll just wait for the authorization.
All right.
Scott didn't add, John Wetzel, who also did the engineering on our sewer line, which is basically the same route, I think it was 15 years ago. Same size, basically same pipe, same everything. Only they didn't have to disinfect that, I guess, but it was $352,000 to put the line in 15 years ago. Same route, same size, same pipe, everything.
With a lift station.
Yeah, with, yeah,
And now we're talking millions.
yeah. Went from 352,000 up to 1.8 million.
Okay, that's gonna help the town a lot.
Oh, yeah, that is,
I mean,
yeah,
well needed. Do we need that rest? We need this bigger?
yeah.
Yes.
What it allows us to do is move water.
Oh, yeah.
We are 1 6-inch pipe away from putting the treatment plant out of service. So,
Yep.
Something to look forward to the
Thank
next
you
5
so
years.
much.
How do you believe, can I ask you guys what one thing that you're gonna talk about later.
Okay.
You guys getting ready to do the meeting calendar for next year?
We are.
Right. I wanted to see if you can move the January meeting to the 15th instead of the 8th, if that's what you have. Because
We
I
have a- We have an APC meeting probably that night.
I mean, if you can't, you can't. I'll have to visit.
So you're gonna go January 15th because that's when you're usually not here.
We got an APC meeting, maybe we can reverse them.
James and I can't be
Yeah, we can see, get with
If
Stillman
you
then.
can't do it, then I'll miss it.
Because we got an APC meeting next Monday, and we can bring it up at that time to reverse the two.
So then we can just raise it at December meeting then, we can table it
Yeah, we could table it, yeah.
after the APC meeting, so you can get it pulled up.
Yeah.
Move it, we'll just table it.
Okay.
Approval then.
Thank you.
Next thing we have is
Today's the Russ
Russ.
Lukey show.
I do get to stand up.
You do,
Russ Lukey show.
unless you can get Scott to talk for you.
Right? You did pretty well. You did very well, in fact. Under trails, there's nothing under the new business or old business, but we did have one thing on participle out there, the other powered motorized devices. There hasn't been a forward movement on that yet. It's, I think that's sort of on my shoulder to do some research and get some models. Zach and I have briefly discussed it, and we're gonna try to use some common sense.
It's the same.
Okay. Is it
That's all I have on the trail, except like Kevin,
But yours
referred
not
to.
blue.
We do have 18 bollards that we need to place along the trail, to keep the pedestrian and bicyclist safe from, interlopers. So 2-ton.
Oh, they're powered mobility.
Yeah. You'll probably be outside the realm of our.
Unauthorized, other powered.
So, yeah, we have 18 of those, and of course, we got one to replace over here in front of the Dollar General store from the truck accident last summer. That's all I have under trails.
Okay,
Okay, on your, have you, this motorized vehicle thing is gonna be a real bear, isn't it?
I really don't think so.
Okay, good.
There are enough other entities around that.
That have it,
Yeah,
yeah,
so I typically
yes,
cut base,
that's good,
but again, this will all be passed to our little ad hoc committee here.
yeah,
for
thanks
all-
ladies for coming.
For a consensus amongst
And Scott.
yeah,
all of us that what we're doing makes sense and is applicable to the real world.
I know. Just so many lines,
I mean, I think really it's just a matter of sitting down and talking about it.
just having some
Yeah,
language,
yeah. And I hope to bring to that meeting some information for us all
yeah,
that you want.
okay.
Same thing on the streets, really nothing, except that crews were out the last couple of weeks doing crack sealing. If you guys noticed, or not noticed, we didn't do any street work this year simply because I was holding out for an project in order to be eligible to apply for the community crossings grant. But we do have a special reserve fund now in the NBA for that money, it's basically sitting there waiting for us. So I do have overlay milling projects for 2024, hopefully. Typically, they have a call for projects in January for the community crossing grant as well as July. So it should be 2 opportunities in 24 to apply for that grant. So we've got some good dollars to leverage monies with the matching sum. That's all I have under streets.
Okay.
Under wastewater, unfortunately, I am not referred to my report tonight because I forgot my script and I've got bullets and numbers and pointers everywhere, so please just bear with me. So, with regards to the wastewater budget, kind of think back to what Scott said because that was exactly what I was going to say about the wastewater budget. I did distribute that to the council, and again, I do that just so as you guys can look to see if there's anything that you feel takes precedence or needs to be on that budget. If I have any glaring omissions, please let me know. And I did today add to the 2022 actual revenue number and expenditure number. They are in there now as well. They were missing from the last copy. Like I said, we don't really need to get into the weeds just yet on that budget
No, I don't think so.
because because I'm gonna speak with Jane, she has some input on that, and again, just wanna make sure that you guys will comfortable with what you're seeing, not something that I've left out.
That's something he emailed us this morning, wasn't it?
Yes, yes.
Last week.
Last week.
Last week.
So, I don't know if you guys have a copy or no, but it's
They don't
not.
have a physical
Not a
copy.
written copy, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, like I said, we don't need to get into the weeds tonight, but there'll be no huge increases, in expected revenues last year. We were up on some this year, down on others, so, it's basically just a wash, so. Again, we just always try to err on the side of safety, so that we can stay within budget constraints and restraints that we typically do, so. Any questions on, but like I said, there'll be a lot more to talk about next month when we go to ratify that thing.
Yeah, get that out to us beforehand.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Probably, see, I will be gone all the week of Thanksgiving, so probably at the end of this week, I'll have the, at least the
Finalized
updated
one.
version. Can you swing that as far as getting together one day
Yeah,
this week?
yeah.
I know we talked about it there, but, okay, now I seem to have misplaced. There we go. Okay, so bullet number 1 on my report, other than the usual data that's on there, if you guys have any questions about flows, overflows, work orders, safety issues, the lateral inspection program, I'll be happy to do it as well. But if you look up on the top under open action items of the wastewater treatment plant, I do have a potential candidate for the class 3 wastewater. He's no longer a potential candidate, I did hire him. Yeah, so he's gonna be on board December the 4th. That's gonna go a long way to getting our wastewater department back on track. We've been, like I said, as I told you guys, slipping behind every day. So, he brings a lot to the table. He does have a class 3 wastewater operator's license that has expired. So basically, him and I in our discussion interviews, is one stipulation of his continued employment, that he continues to proceed on with his renewal of that license. So typically how that works, and I believe it's with most licensed classes, you have a year's grace period, more or less. So he's within that grace period, and he has already begun the steps he needs to take to get his license recertified.
Where did he come from?
He was actually born over by Floyd Knob somewhere, but has since relocated to Orlando, Florida. In-laws are down there, they started having kids, they wanted to have kids, and that's it, their grandparents were there. Hopefully, or no, probably without a doubt, tired of the Orlando metro. I would be. I mean, I love Southern Indiana, but I did warn him of that. I said, look, if you're used to that, Southern Indiana ain't it. That's my exact words, but no, he's good with that.
So he's moved back this way?
I'm sorry?
He's moved back this way?
Yes, yeah, they will relocate here. Like I said, he wants to start work on December the 4th. And then he wants to take advantage of the extended holidays coming up to move
Yeah.
family and goods stuff this way.
He passed the drug test, or?
Well, again, that's a good point, and I have a question for Kevin afterwards. I don't want to go into it right now because it is an employee issue, but anyway, yes, it is contingent upon his passing the background check and the urine analysis. Good point. Thanks for reminding me. Bullet point number 2, unless there are no questions. Bullet point number 2, as the council recalls, Trish, Jason, and Brian were at the bid opening for the cured and plate pipe program back in October. And we had gone through and checked that all the boxes were checked and the I's were dotted, T's were crossed. And I did distribute a copy of the bid tab. I don't know if the council got a copy of that. We did. But looking over to the left, that's the winner as far as I'm concerned. So what you see there in that column under performance pipelining, at the meeting, the total price was read for those projects, but we have it broken down by the base bid and the alternate. So if you see that, you'll see the base bid for performance pipe was $2,783,257.69, just for the, again, the base 4 areas, I believe what it was that we had laid out. If you go down to that, you'll see their total alternate bid was $960,650. Now, we write those specs, I'll call it that way, so we can kind of cherry pick what fits within our budget. So from that, and again, I didn't actually put it on a particular piece of paper, but we will not award all of the alternate bid. I'm going to award about $250,000 from the alternate bid. also distributed to the council, where we are on the wastewater capital funding. Do you have that as well? And I got it that I'm pretty pitiful, when we kind of sheets up. So basically what the sheet tells you is that our net proceed from the bond refinance was $4,750,000. Okay, so year to date, we have spent $1,412,000 and some change of that. The remaining balance of $3,337,000 and some change. So the 1.4 was the 3 lift stations that we rehabbed last year. So again, taking the cured in place pipe base bid of $2,783,000 and the alternate bid of $250,000, that leaves us remaining balance of $304,421. Now keep in mind, these numbers may go up or down, but not very much. So basically when you write specifications for a bid project, what your documentation says you may have X feet, or it may be 10 feet longer or 10 feet shorter. So my point is that these numbers could vary just a little bit. So I guess more succinctly is that they would be paid for the pipe that they already have, nothing more. So under that $304,421, you'll see engineering assistance, and that's another question I have for the council tonight. We'll talk more about that in a minute. So after all that is said and done, and we used the engineering assistance, there will be a remaining balance in our capital wastewater fund of $175,000 and some change. Now, Kevin can further me along or correct if I'm wrong, but we have to have all that money spent by September of 2024 to keep it as a non-taxable, whatever that jargon is.
To keep it from coming under
Yeah.
IRS arbitrage rules, yes.
There you go. That's almost as fun word as perpetuity.
Basically, when you issue a tax-free bond, the IRS can come back and scrutinize it if you don't spend the money, because you're supposed to be spending it on capital. They don't want municipalities issuing tax-free bonds at 2%, and then right now, Capital One is at 5.3% CD. You could put it in and make money off that. So they can disqualify the bonds for tax-free treatment if you're not spending the money on capital projects, if you don't really need the money. It's
Right.
issuing bonds for investment purposes, which disqualifies them from tax-free treatment, and your bondholder would get very, very, very upset if you were to do that. So, because they bought it based on it being a tax-free bond.
So Kevin had explained all that, so I can tell you this. So that residual now, left over $175,000, you have plans for it. Again, depending on where our project numbers wind up, I am also going to buffer our wastewater expenditure of our utility budget for any contingencies. I didn't really figure any contingencies into the project. And they're pretty well cut and dried, again, paid for back there we have. So, any questions over the fund balance for the wastewater capital project?
And when did you say you wanted to start this?
Don't really know yet. I was not making anything official until I spoke with the council tonight. I will make a phone call tomorrow and we will hash out a date. So in our initial conversation, in fact, first time I talked to you was in Pennsylvania working on the project. So, but they are anxious to get this one started as soon as they practically can. I'm thinking February, March. I know they like cold weather. It helps their process a little bit. So they may try to jump it in as early as the beginning of next year, which would be okay for me.
Where was Performance Pipeline from?
Ottawa, Illinois.
Oh, yeah.
And if I recall, it's East Central. You've got that quizzical look on your face.
Don't you still have like another $1.5 million in your normal wastewater capital funds budget?
I am.
So you got plenty of cushion.
I am merely, and again, that's the question I got from January on, but I'm going by our amortization schedule. Payback.
Yeah, I'm just going off, you've got plenty of cushion there if they would go over, that you got $1.5 million
Yes.
budgeted, still left on the budget for wastewater capital projects anyway, so.
So we actually, run our own aging report as well, so we keep a pretty close tab.
I remember when we left, there was some debate on, who, if that included all of them, and then the
Exactly
guys
right.
stayed, made sure that you knew, was all this covered?
Exactly, so again, that's why we don't award those.
I know.
We say the apparent low bidder is.
That's good.
So, and I'm glad you brought that up because he was removed. His quote did not include the alternates.
Oh,
So he just had the base bid
oh,
and didn't show the alternates. So that's, yeah, that's why he was substantially cheaper.
yes, substantially.
We let him.
How good? I knew there was an issue. Yeah, glad that guy came back.
Yes, absolutely. It would have come out.
I know,
it
you would have
come out.
seen it, I know,
Yeah, but no, it's better to know before. rather than-
yeah.
So bullet point number 3, and hopefully maybe the last one of this long-winded dissertation tonight, but, so, when this project was conceived, I had full intent of being the representative for the town. I was gonna go out and make sure that the crews were doing what they said they were gonna do. I was gonna review all the videos, because there is a post-construction video that you watch. Once that line is put in, I mean, it's gonna harden just like this. So what they have to do is go back and cut out each of the existing laterals. You wanna make sure that they put the end seals in. You wanna make sure that there are no wrinkles, or at least no overly horrible wrinkles if they do go back in the sand. I was gonna do all that. With the fact that we're so short-handed, I don't know how much time I can devote to that. And again, Kevin brought up a point that I was gonna bring up as well. We've got some extra dollars, perhaps. I would like to ask that the council let me get some engineering assistance on this project. And what I mean by that is someone to help me with pay requests, someone to help me with the post-construction videos, and they would have a part-time project representative on site. And they have a not-to-exceed number. And again, you can see, I've got some markups already. They've got a not-to-exceed number to $129,000. But, I'm sorry? 129. Actually, let me see if I can get an exact number. I'm sorry, I was wrong. $127,205. Now again, that is a not-to-exceed price, and they threw in there some things that I had not conceived, so I'm kind of going over this, and we're still, for lack of a better term, we're still negotiating. So this number would definitely go down. But again, I would request the council consideration of some engineering assistance on this here.
Who would you reach out to?
Yeah, how would you?
Actually, it is a professional service, so it doesn't have to go out for bid, right? We've got Midwestern engineers already in
Right,
town
that's
doing
what I
the
was gonna
project.
say,
I don't
somebody-
know that we'll get it any cheaper. So I just had them give me a budget number, and I'm presenting to the council tonight for consideration.
Okay,
Well, we're spending a lot of money on it, needs to be done right.
I know,
I'm
you
good
need
with
some time to.
And really, $127,000 is a lot of money, but in the scheme of the project, it's probably a smart deal.
And you don't want them to miss one cutout.
No.
Especially if it's your house, right?
It'll flow back into the lake. at
Yeah.
night.
And what company is that with?
Midwestern engineers.
Okay.
They've done a lot of work for the town in the last
Yeah.
5-6 years. Well, they
Forever.
designed the
They
original
designed
sewer
the
and
town.
water system. They
Yeah.
took
The
a
whole town.
brief
They
rest
laid
of
out
their
the-
life and now they're back. Yeah, I think.
So you need a motion on that?
On getting somebody, or do we need,
On
you
getting
need
somebody?
now,
Yeah.
Exceeds the
Well,
spend
I mean,
limit, I guess.
now, or do we wait?
You're going to issue a notice of award,
Yes, that's correct.
and then we'll have to do a contract with them.
That's correct.
Okay.
And you
So
gave
then
me
do it
boilerplate.
after
I
that?
used the standard boilerplate, but I think you've got one that's got a little extra sauce to it.
Do it after that?
I mean, you can do it now. You can authorize them to move forward on that and contract with them with Midwestern to perform, what is it, inspection services?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no use delaying it if you're going to do it.
Well, they can plan for it too.
Yeah, make a motion that we give us authority to consult with Midwestern, I don't know what I'm saying. What should I say?
Enter into a services
To
contract
enter into a service
with a
contract,
not to exceed amount of $100.
not $127,000.
$1,205.75.
Second,
Good answers.
I have a first and second on this Midwest bid of $127,000 some dollars. All those in favor, say aye.
aye.
All those opposed, say no. So let it be known it passes 5-0.
Thank you. Just briefly, back to the report.
There's about 75 cents.
We covered a lot of stuff tonight, I think Scott covered some of this, but just to give the council and the public an update where we are on the water capital and EDA project. Again, Scott knows those pretty well. We are working with the contractors this week to start disinfecting and filling the new tower. And I talked to some folks today, they're still possibly won't entertain getting the old tower down yet this month. Maybe the week of the 27th. Can't really kind of intended yet. Wednesday, like I said, we hope to start disinfecting, filling the tank, and I don't know. I guess on a good, perfect day, we get 1,000 gallons a minute in that tank. So at 750,000, we're piloting, on a perfect day, 20 hours probably fill the tank. Probably won't do bacterial sampling until next week, probably. So I'll be gone next week. We'll cover all that. And then, one last thing, let's see, did I get all that done? Yeah, that's really it.
Okay, I have nothing else. Anybody else?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Russ.
Just on those bids for that, at the meeting where we opened those, you need to award that if you're going to award that bid.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you
because
did, the
we
three of you
gave it to
didn't.
your discretion.
Did you vote just to table it?
Yes,
Yeah.
we just said to his discretion, but do we need to?
You might want to go ahead and award it. I didn't remember if you tabled it or if you authorized Russ to.
No, because we gave
Yeah.
him,
But it was based on that low bidder too.
we gave him authorization.
Well, look at the
right?
minutes.
I would,
So should we do it?
no,
That was a special.
that was a special meeting.
No.
I would say to award the bid,
Yeah,
Okay.
authorize him to issue
So-
it.
I am requesting the award of the project to Claus Pipeline of Ottawa, Illinois, in the base bid amount of $2,783,257.69. Do I need to go into the alternate
Yeah.
rate as well?
We
Yeah.
need to specify which alternates you are going to do.
It's not gonna be accurate because I'm only using like 290,000 out of their total.
Well, but it's on a line basis, isn't it? It's a unit basis.
Okay, so there was 6 service areas altogether. I took out 2 as alternates. So we have a combined footage between those 2 alternates. So all I'm doing is cherry picking the line footages out of lift station 8, which is one of the alternates, and using that as my number.
Explain what you're doing. Yeah,
I just did it.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So, okay, how about we do this? So award the base bid at that.
Plus alternates for an additional how many linear feet of,
Very good. So the additional linear feet in the lift station 8 area, an alternate bid is 8,419 feet. I don't have
you know what the total amount was?
I'm sorry?
You know what the
He said like
total amount is
290 something.
based upon that, do you know what the total amount of the bid?
Oh, yeah, let me a second here. I've been crunching a lot of numbers today. 234,000 for that number, for the main line.
So then alternates of
But there was
2.
another one too, right?
Right, but I only awarded 1 out of there.
Okay,
So it's the base bid plus 234,000 for alternates for a total of 3 million. I'm sorry, 2 million. I can't do the math.
it'll be 3
It's
million.
over 3, yeah.
No, yeah, it'll be 3 million. Wait, let me add it here.
Let's do this. Let's
Use your
do-
calculator.
7.
It's gonna be,
Carry the 1.
it's gonna be 3,000,000,
3,000,005.
100,000.
A 60 generation.
Because 234 is not your final number, is it?
It's plus the 278.
No, I mean, that other bid is, I mean, what he picked for alternates is exactly $234,000.
No, that is not exactly correct.
That's right.
No, that is not correct.
How much is your contract going to be for then?
Yeah, so, let's go back, so let's use that original 200,000 from January we just did. Give it another 30,000 for lateral rehab, which is part of that project.
So it's 234 plus 30,000 additional?
Yes.
you had on, how much was it?
30,000.
So see now, if it's and change, and we say it's exactly this much,
Well, like I said, you gotta be prepared for those numbers to fluctuate.
I know,
Yeah, because it's all estimates based upon
Okay.
the
Right.
number of linear feet. Their actual bill might be a little
Right,
higher.
exactly.
You're just giving someone a target to shoot at when it's.
Because of the actual, a lot of it's based upon the linear feet of different sizes of pipe.
that's why, shouldn't we just go $3,150,000?
Well, he's gonna base on his bid package, though, is what he's going to be based on.
Right,
The contract will say this amount based upon the estimated linear feet of whatever he did that based upon.
Right.
So I would say, this should be the exact amount, but then based on the contract, it's going to be, if the linear feet is more or less than what is spec'd, it might be less than this, but the contract will say it's for $3,047,257.69.
Hold on, 3 million.
what did you get?
$3,047,257.
Thing is a solid number.
It'll have in there the caveat that it's subject to adjustment based upon his estimates are based on the linear feet of
My
the
estimations
pipe.
were based on engineering drawings, but we're not talking necessarily linear things. You know, it may say we measured on top of the ground 10 foot from here, but that may go an incline, we're 15 feet.
So
that's
just
what we're basing that.
for legal purposes, we want a nice
We will have the number
chunky number, okay?
based upon the number of linear feet that are contained in the bid package on his alternate and, whatever alternate he is telling them to do, plus the base bid amount to total $3,047,257.69.
69 cents.
But it will have in the contract that it will be adjusted based upon the actual quantity supplied for certain
Okay.
items. You know, the mobilization, demobilization, that stays the same, but whenever they get into the actual work of putting the stuff in the pipe, it's gonna be based upon a linear quantity supplied by them.
Okay. I make a motion that, we award performance pipelining, the collection system bid at $3,047,257.69.
Have first and second, any other discussion? If not, all those approve, say aye.
Aye.
Let be known, passes 5-0, no nays.
Thank you.
Kevin, you're up.
This may be a first, there's nothing on my agenda. I did send an email to you earlier about the issue with the allegations of election fraud concerning our municipal election. On Friday, the election board is going to have a meeting to both open the provisional ballots that were cast. And I also talked to Darrell Stevens, the clerk, today, and he said this issue will come up, although at last word, the grievance
It's been dismissed.
was, withdrawn,
Withdrawn, that's it.
which I of course asked him how that can actually. I mean, once a sworn statement's been filed that there's 2 people voted illegally in our election, it doesn't seem like it's something they can just say, oh, well, you changed your mind. I think they still have to probably conduct some kind of investigation into it. So, just wanted to bring that to your attention. I don't know if you want me to attend that meeting for the town's purposes to see what actually does go on with regard to.
I think it would be, right back, yeah.
What time is that meeting? Is that open to the?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's public.
Oh, it's a public meeting.
It was supposed to be at 1, but I think they changed it to 3:30.
Oh, I didn't get that memo. Is that?
That's what he said to me, if it's at 1, I can go, but if it's at 3:30, I can't. So I will, what do you want me to do, confirm what time it is and let you know?
Scan driver's license, how could you vote illegally at that thing?
I thought it was strange that it was.
Take a fake driver's license in, take somebody else's driver's license and vote for them?
Yeah, I think Kevin needs a 10 and
I'd like
no
to.
more
but-
than,
Mhm.
if you'd like
Right.
a 10.
But I don't.
Anybody's welcome to attend if it's a public meeting.
That's a public meeting.
Yeah, but we can't have 3 council members there.
Oh, we
With
couldn't.
their-
You
add
can,
other-
you just can't discuss it.
We couldn't at other things whenever I tried
technically-
to
Yeah,
go.
you
They
can
can't-
go for information gathering.
Yeah, they cannot
It's best
prevent
to
you from
give
going.
notice if 3 members are going to be there.
But
We've
you cannot
always-
discuss anything.
Yeah, we've always
Yeah.
hedged on the caution.
But they
that
cannot prevent you from
If we
going.
know 3 people are gonna be there, it's best to give notice that you will be there.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna have a meeting, but just so no one raises the issue that I saw 3 council members.
I won't go, so you don't have to worry about me.
I did not.
Brian, you going? Brian's not going.
I wouldn't mind sitting there.
Okay. The other thing I'd like to add, if there's any media that contacting us, that we refer to Kevin.
Election fraud. Exciting.
Okay with everybody, or?
I'm in the office today. Some issues over the weekend, but nothing as of today.
Yeah, absolutely. My employee's upset over it, but we're gonna get worked out.
Over what?
The situation.
Yeah, you can refer to email.
2 town employees that were alleged they voted here improperly.
Are they town residents?
Yes.
And how could they vote improperly?
I'm not sure, that's up to Pat Moore and them to decide.
It's up to the election board and the
Their-
prosecuting
Their
attorney.
responses were not very clear to the clerk. 2 employees' responses were not very clear to the clerk. So
Okay,
anyway,
With that being
to
said,
say this, maybe she's,
let's move on to the clerk treasurer.
Okay, so the holiday and safety bonuses, we usually pay out in December. So I'm needing some guidance on which payday you would like the holiday and safety bonuses to be paid out on. Whether you want those paid out on the December 1st paycheck or the December 15th paycheck.
what would be beneficial mostly to the employees?
The first.
The first, that's it. I make a motion that we pay out bonuses on December 1st.
Second.
Okay, we have first and second on this. Do we have a dollar amount that we're using as discussion?
It's probably in the salary ordinance.
It's in the salary
Yeah.
ordinance.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, we
Okay.
raised it. Mhm.
Okay,
It would be paid out per the salary ordinance.
okay. Okay, no other discussion, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Let be known, passes 5-0.
Okay, the other thing on the agenda that I had was the 2024 meeting dates. I was gonna ask for approval for those, but we're gonna table those pending, the APC board meeting to see if they're willing to switch their time. So we'll put that on the
December?
agenda for December. Danita has contacted me about the family insurance quotes. She did not have them all available for the meeting tonight. However, she expects to have those ready for review shortly. So she is requesting a special meeting date on either November 27th or the 28th. That is a Monday or Tuesday meeting to go over all of the family insurance information.
I would go with the 27th at 5 PM if that works for everybody.
I can do that.
Pardon me? You okay with you
27th
guys?
would be better for me too.
At 5? 5 o'clock, okay? 5 okay with you?
Fine.
Okay,
27th at 5.
So I will get that posted and I will get with Danita and let her know.
If she could have some numbers
Yeah, she
before the
said-
meeting, that'd be great.
Okay,
for us
I'll
to
see if I can get that.
look at.
time to be sent. The only other thing I have is I just wanted to update you about, I have had Susie Bass look at our bank recons. She has brought those in balance up through August. I have sent her September and October's bank statements this morning. I expect those, she is working on those this evening. I expect those to be no issue and that she should have those reconciled, within a day or two, because since Abigail's taken over, we've not had any issues, so it's just a matter of her looking at them and bringing those up to date. So she does have all the corrections made up through August. I'm going to be meeting with her by phone for the corrections that need to be done on our end that she has found. I haven't spoke with her about those corrections yet, but she does have them ready on what we need to do on our end for bookkeeping wise to be in line with what our reconciles are. And she has got those all uploaded into our software system too. So that should be all complete within a couple days, completely up to balance on all of our bank accounts in preparation for year end. So
Okay.
that's the update on that.
Okay. The only other comment I'd like to add to that, that was because of the previous issues that we had prior to you coming.
Yes, these were all issues that I inherited coming in April. When I came in, we were not in balance back to January, and so anyway, this is all something that is just old business that's being resolved and brought current. So we should not have any problems with year end. We are going to be completely in balance at year end, and we'll get those corrections made.
Excellent.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Audit report.
The audit report has, from the State Board of Accounts, has been made public. I have not totally read through it 100% yet. I am aware from our exit interviews and the things that were brought up. It's something I'm gonna review and have an update for discussion at the December meeting on the corrections that need to be made. I need to get with Kevin on a couple ordinances. But it is public record now, so we can discuss it at the December meeting when I have thoroughly reviewed it and been over some things with Kevin. We'll do an update on that.
So is that like on your website, or where is that?
It's on the State Board of Accounts. If you go to recent audit reports, it'll have it on there.
It'll be on there. So it has been uploaded. The only other thing I have is vouchers. Okay.
Indiana Trust, have we
Indiana
been,
Trust?
how much money have we moved in there so far?
The money that we put in there is just what we originally put in there, just the 245,000 and the other 225,000.
Yeah.
But the interest rates are really well. I can send you guys the most
Yeah,
recent.
I think we should move all of our non-operating funds into that because we're getting what, 5-6%?
Over 5%.
You're talking $4 million at 6%, we're making nothing, not moving it. So, and it's guaranteed, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars a year we could be growing our bank balance. I think we should move everything that's not an operating expense so that we don't have to, and it does move daily, so it's liquid, we're not tied up, it's guaranteed. I see no reason not to move funds and make 5 to 6% on them while interest rates are high. We are leaving hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table.
If we had an oh crap moment, we could get it right back.
We can get it right back.
You could have it set up like a sweep account. A lot of businesses have a sweep account that every night it moves money into the account and
You're
sits
talking
there
on,
overnight and then comes back into your
over
operating
I'm not talking
accounts.
wastewater and water because obviously you guys are using all that.
Right.
But these other funds that we don't use, we don't touch,
Well, they have
we're leaving hundreds,
They have extra money.
talk about, we need $100,000, well, we're leaving 400,000 on the table, not having it in there
Yeah,
this year,
for 6 months,
600,000.
you're generating shit.
That would pay for the trail, that pays for everything.
I'd like to see a number though, to know what number we're moving. If we're moving everything, what is that number we're moving?
We'd have to look, I'd have to look at all the funds.
Yeah.
The only thing is that Jane does have to set up an account there, but it was pretty
He has
easy.
accounts.
It
doing
was
it.
easy to set up the account, yes.
So it's really easy.
And so the way it's set up, and the way I'm able to set it up, and I think I've
You
shared
could be making.
these reports with you guys, is I am able to set up individual sub-accounts
Oh,
for
good,
bookkeeping purposes.
good.
So when they do collect interest, the interest is under that sub-account. So when I move it back, I'll know exactly how much interest is
Yeah.
back into that exact account, the appropriation account that we have.
Like we're doing with the fire truck, we're making,
You won't need that money till, the chassis ain't gonna get ordered this year, it's
You
gonna
got
be first
$13
order
million
of
in
2024.
there.
And we've made tens of thousands of dollars on that already. I mean, we've made a lot of money on, how much have we made on that already?
It's probably right around close to $8,000.
$8,000 that we would've made nothing, that's going to that fire truck now.
You're gonna make probably another.
Yeah, and now imagine 4 million instead of 200,000, how much we've left on the table. Multiply that by 16? That we could have had if we'd moved up everything already. So I think we should really, I mean, I make a motion that we move our funds that are not in our operating budget that we need access to into accounts in Indiana Trust.
I don't even think, there's not even any problem with moving appropriated funds over to there, I don't think, is there? Even if you've appropriated them in the budget for the next year, because you can pull it back anytime,
Right,
so.
yeah, I think.
Even if it's just excess funds that are not within your appropriated budget, even appropriated funds, you can move over there.
Okay, I make a
Like
motion
Tiff,
to
you
move
got
all
750,000
funds that are,
in there.
as
But
Kevin
I don't think we
suggests.
need a motion to do that, because I don't think.
I think she can do it.
She can do
Yeah, you've
whatever she
given her
wishes.
authority to
Oh,
do
okay.
anything that's not needed under.
Well, then I withdraw the motion.
Yeah.
I would ask that you do it.
Yes,
And that-
so I
if anyone has a problem with it, voice it now if you don't think we should do
Right,
that.
I
I
would
mean,
look at
we
those
should've done a long
funds
time
and have to.
because rates will come back down and then we'll miss this opportunity. They will come back down. You know, we'll miss this opportunity and I feel like we will leave. I mean, Cume building, Cume cap, everything, you know,
TIF.
it's just more money, TIF, that we could use on things. So let our money make us money.
Is that a hugely time-consuming thing for you to do?
No, it's not time consuming, I just wanna make sure that we review the funds and, I'll be transparent about
Yes.
what funds are available, and I think we should take it step by step on what funds are available and how much of that we wanna move,
Okay.
and just.
I would start with the bigger ones like
It's not that I
Cume building and
necessarily
Cume
need
cap.
permission to do it, but I also wanna run the office transparent with the
Mhm.
council
Okay.
on what funds we have and what funds I feel like.
It might help if
we should
you-
know how much.
If you brought in and showed everybody what it's already earning so that they know that it's, it's a really good thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I don't think I'd
The
question
only,
it,
the
right.
only comment I have, when you move money from a community bank to a bank up in New York, the money's not here within the community for other people to borrow against. So keep that in mind, what you're doing to all the community banks in the state of Indiana, Kentucky, Illinois, wherever.
but we'll bring hundreds of thousands back a year into the town that gets spent. That'll do a lot more than that, I feel. I don't know.
See what you can do and let
Okay.
us know.
But it's your decision what you do,
It is.
because
But
you're
like I
under the
said,
clerk treasurer.
It is at my discretion, however, the way I run my office is in a very transparent way, and I will keep the council abreast of any decisions that I want to make, I'm thinking about making, and run it past you guys first. I'm not necessarily that I require approval from the council, but I also want to run my office in a very transparent and in a teamwork environment with the council as a team, so.
That's exactly what would be desired, so good.
Okay,
Any other
back to the vouchers.
questions or comments? So I have vouchers, general vouchers in the amount of $61,971.86.
Make a motion to approve the general voucher in the amount of $61,971.86.
I have a first and second by Jason and Trish. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Let it be known, it passes 5-0.
Okay, I have payroll vouchers in the amount of $78,634.76.
Make a motion to approve the payroll voucher in the amount of $78,634.76.
Second.
I have a first and second by Jason and Brian. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Let it be known, it passes 5-0.
And I have wastewater vouchers in the amount of $55,957.47.
Make a motion to approve the wastewater voucher in the amount of $55,957.47.
Second.
I have a first and second by Jason and Seth. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Let it be known, it passes 5-0.
Did we table this? I don't remember.
Yeah, until next month.
So Russ, when did they get the part for the water tower they were needing?
I'm sorry?
When did they get the part for that collar tower they were?
Yeah, everything done, as far as that concerned, that's all done. That turned out to be the whole thing.
Yeah. I just can't believe they, like, I can't believe they didn't have it ordered like months ago.
Today, we had a 20-minute discussion on how to upgrade valve volume.
Huh?
They wanna take a foot-long piece of plastic, set it on top of the valve line, and build it out there. Now you're not.
Still coming.
It was the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not gonna keep flashing like this. I don't know. It's like a, what?
Last thing I like to add is best wishes to Heritage Hills football this coming Friday night.
Yes, Senate State.
Good throwing win.
Okay, can I have entertainment to adjourn?
You're all signed.
Wait, still
We're-
signing?
We're
Are we
all
done?
signed.
No, I've got them all.
Got it? Good.
Make a motion to adjourn?
All right.
Oh.
Second.
First and second to adjourn, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Let me know. We're adjourned.
Oh, it's I was a little concerned, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, we got to.
Like this. I'm not gonna get you going. You work the whole time.
I've been told. Yeah, you all should get noticed for the election. It's like we did. I don't know.